Two friends attempt one of the toughest climbs in Alaska.
Jim!
One is horribly injured. Do they wait for rescue or risk a treacherous descent?
Do you all live?
The choice is tearing them apart.
I want off this mountain!
Help isn't coming. And the mountain is trying to kill them any way it can.
Avalanches are roaring everywhere. It's bad. It's war.
Denali National Park, Alaska. 6 million acres of wilderness dotted with spectacular glaciers and rugged mountain peaks. It's a magnet for extreme climbers like Dave Nyman and Jim Sweeney.
Man, you should see the view from here.
This is an area as big as England. We were the only climbers in the whole Alaska range that we knew of.
Jim Sweeney's idea of heaven is taking on a treacherous rock face with his good friend Dave Nyman, the man who taught him to climb.
We've had great times in the mountains, thousands of hours, and we've taught each other a lot.
Hey, come on, Nymo. Come on, keep up, slow coach.
Great, Jim.
Jim is a better climber overall than me.
Dave and Jim are attempting a route up Mount Johnson that no one has conquered before, though many have tried. It's called the Elevator Shaft, a 2,000-foot ice climb in a wall of granite.
I was looking for something steep and hard to do. I'm a fighter, you know. I grew up as a boxer. I fought every kid in town.
Because a climb is not just the act of climbing, it's also how you interact with your partner, what kind of trust, what kind of knowledge you have of what your partner would do if something happens. Jim's taking out the rope and he's moving fast. He gets up to the end of each length of rope and he keeps pulling me up behind him.
You just forget what's going on when you're going up. I'm climbing. I'm not thinking about anything else. I want to go up.
Hang on, Dave. Gotta get past the snowballs.
After 2 hours of fast climbing, Jim reaches a bulge of snow above him.
I'm looking for ice. I'm looking for something hard to get some purchase in.
Oh!
I was just kind of hunkering down, trying to keep snow from hitting me as he was fussing around up there.
You're thrashing me, Jim!
He's hollering at me, you know, and it's just constantly the snow's going down.
Have you hit anything yet? This is nowhere, Dave. If I can't find some rock and ice to climb onto, I'll come down. Ah!
Cold wave of snow in a kind of a hissing roar that just whooshes by. He's not moving.
Jim! I'm coming, Jim. Just hold on.
He's about 100 feet down below me. I knew I had to work fast. At this point, I don't know what kind of shape he's in. I don't know if he's choking, if he can't breathe. At that point, I know I have to move really quickly to get to him.
Jim?
I can see blood trickling out of his nose and his mouth and his ear.
Jim?
I touch him, and immediately he comes to life.
Out of the house! We gotta go!
Jim, stay with me. Jim! I'm gonna get you down! Jim? Stay with me!
I had to transition from being more or less the follower to being the leader. I knew everything was up to me from now on.
Dave's first task is to get Jim out of danger. He has to lower Jim's dead weight 1,000 feet down the near vertical rock face of the elevator shaft.
Over several hours, I would lower him below me, and I'd drop Jim down another full length of rope, maybe 165 feet.
Jim, I need you to wake up! Jim! Okay, here we go. We're going again.
It takes Dave the best part of 5 hours to lower Jim down to relative safety.
Last bit, Jim. Jim. Damn it, Jim. Stay with me. Stay with me, Jim.
I have no memories of the fall whatsoever, none. The first thing real I remember was Dave screaming at me.
Wake up! Come on. Stay with me.
Dave and Jim are still 5,500 feet up Mount Johnson, in an area rife with avalanches. Battling deep snow and fading light, Dave drags Jim back to where they'd stashed their equipment. Jim has dislocated his hip. He drifts in and out of consciousness. Now Dave has to find a way of surviving the night.
I dig straight into the hillside and move the snow from this 45-degree face.
He digs a snow hole. The snow will insulate them from the plummeting temperatures of the oncoming night.
Okay, Jim, let's get you safe.
Jim's helmet's virtually shattered, and he's not moving. At that point, I realized that this has gone from bad to even worse. I know with a head injury, you know, if your brain starts to swell, fluids build up, that can pretty much be the end of you. There's all these different things going through your mind. If the weather turns and I don't get word out, we're gonna be in a world of hurt. If I go travel alone on the glacier, am I just gonna fall in a hole and Jim's left by himself anyway? You don't know what the right answer is.
By morning, Jim is semi-conscious, and Dave has made a decision. He's going for help.
Do you think you can light the stove?
Don't go.
Next thing I remember was in the morning, Dave's talking to me. He's telling me he's gonna leave. I told him, I don't want you to leave me. Don't leave me.
I gotta go, Jim. I'm going for help. There's a ski hut up the gorge. Maybe there's people there. They might have a radio. We'll get a plane and be out of here in no time. I'll be back in a few hours, okay?
Leaving a partner in that kind of situation is, you might come back and he'll be buried or he'll be dead.
First, Dave skis a mile down Mount Johnson to the glacier, which runs like a motorway through the mountains. The ski hut is then a 7-mile struggle uphill, a dangerous route across crevasse-cracked terrain.
Generally, if you fall in a crevasse on that glacier, there's really no hope for you. You're gone. You're gone from the world. You might end up 1,000, 2,000 feet down, straight down. It's pretty frightening.
I don't know who I am. I'm freezing. My forehead's on fire, my body's cold. I'm laying there, I'm pounding, my heart's just going boom, boom, boom. The whole body's just going boom, boom, boom.
After 6 hours hard skiing, Dave reaches the ski hut.
Help! Yeah, radio! Radio! No!
Oh, great. That means there's no cavalry coming today, and we can't just pick up the radio and call a plane passing overhead.
Come and sit down.
The group of skiers are on vacation. One of them is a paramedic. He agrees to go look for Jim.
I'm greatly heartened by this, but I am shot.
Just stay here and rest up. We'll see what we can do.
And I told the 2 skiers leaving, if they don't get to him tonight, they'll probably freeze.
You're clear about where he is. You sure you can find him?
We'll just follow your tracks. It's okay.
Hey, be careful with him.
Unable to radio for help, Dave and one of the skiers tramp out a giant SOS in the snow.
I can remember my fevered brow in the snow and still being warm, but my body freezing. You know, I can remember that feeling.
We spent a lot of time together. We've been into a lot of different things.
Hang in there, buddy.
Jim would never give up.
Miles away, alone and exposed on the mountain, Jim is losing his grip on reality again.
Black dreams, just as black as can be, you know. I didn't know who I was with, where I was at. I didn't even know I was a climber.
The next morning, Dave heads out to try and find the rescue party. They're already on their way up the glacier.
They're towing a sled. My heart leaps. Oh, great, great. They're coming back. They've rescued Jim. And then I think there's no way they can ski as fast as they're skiing, towing Jim. Then my heart just drops.
Where's Jim? Didn't you find him?
Look, we skied all the way over to the base of that shaft thing. That's a hell of a climb.
He explains to me that they looked up and they saw a few avalanches coming down, and they decided that they didn't have the proper equipment.
It's too dangerous. Getting more people killed won't help anyone.
I'm trying not to be angry. I can't believe what I'm hearing here.
Will somebody come with me? I'm taking that sleeping bag.
You go up there, and you're gonna die.
I could feel them looking at me when I was skiing, because I was putting any anger I had right into my plan to save Jim. At that time, the clock was ticking. Every second I felt counted.
Eight miles away, Jim is being buried by snowslides.
I realized I was somewhere bad. I'm totally encased in snow. I'm going, where the hell's Dave?
I raced down the glacier. Maybe what I covered in 6 hours took a half hour, going downhill. And so I made it in no time down to the camp and just started grabbing gear.
Dave heads back up to Mount Johnson, to the snow hole where he'd left Jim 30 hours earlier.
Jim! Jim!
I heard probably the most beautiful sound I've ever heard.
Oh!
Oh! And I'm screaming, and I hear Dave.
Jim?
He's buried in a snowslide. Buddy was smiling, just dumb and as happy as you would expect a person in his predicament to be.
I'm crying, I'm back to the helplessness, crying, fighting, I can do both. Feel sorry for myself and fight.
Dave pitches the tent near the snow hole, and at last Jim gets the opportunity to warm up.
This is a nice, big, warm sleeping bag.
Jim, I need to take a look at your hip. I think it might be broken.
I know my hip's busted, you moron. I can take care of my hip. I'll stay in the bag, and you can pull me out of here.
I don't believe that I have the ability to move Jim out of this area.
Skiing off by myself, that's one thing, but I can't drag you out of here. I can't do that, Jim. Listen, there are people at the ski hut. They know we're here. Let's just hunker down and wait for help to come. Hey?
Positively, 100%. He was waiting to get rescued. Dave's waiting for the rescue to come.
Mark Niver and his wife Roberta are flying over the Ruth Glacier looking for a place to land for a romantic picnic.
It was the place that Mark had proposed to me. It was our anniversary, so we decided to go up there. That was our plan.
Stay up there for an hour or two and have some lunch and kind of walk around and we wanted to enjoy the sights because it's just such a gorgeous area up there. As we turned, I could see that the weather doesn't look all that great.
I don't think we should land. I think we better go home.
Okay, hon.
Jim, do you hear that? Jim, come on, man. There's a plane.
And I figured it'll see the SOS. We'll be out of here in no time.
Roberta, look, SOS. We gotta go in.
No, we don't, Mark.
Roberta doesn't want to risk landing. She's 7.5 months pregnant.
What are you doing? You just said we shouldn't land here.
It's an SOS, we have to land.
She's nervous, obviously, and she's telling me, Mark, we can't land. She's kind of hollering at me. It's somewhat distractive as I'm lining up to land.
In the poor light, Mark can't tell if it's 3 feet or 30 feet down to the snow. He tries to abort the landing.
At elevation, you know, the air is pretty thin. The engine doesn't perform at all like it should.
Mark!
So I grabbed my stomach and held on.
And all of a sudden, we just fell out of the sky.
Dave and Jim remain stranded halfway up Mount Johnson. Unbeknownst to them, Mark and Roberta Niver's plane has crashed 8 miles away. Their attempt to help has only made things worse. Fortunately, the shelter of the ski hut is close at hand.
Living in Alaska, things happen. You just have to adapt to what your situation is.
Whoa, where'd you come from?
Can you help, please?
The baby is still moving, but Roberta has ruptured 2 discs in her back.
I had to pull within myself. It's already a very scary situation. Tried to remain calm and tried not to dwell on what if. I was afraid if I started to think what if, I'd be in trouble.
We saw that SOS. Is it yours?
No. Hey, sit down. It's a long story.
Mark gets all the details of Jim's climbing accident and Dave's determination to rescue him.
Immediately, I'm thinking of those guys. I mean, the snow's falling, the wind's blowing. They're on some side of a mountain someplace, and who knows what condition.
With hope of rescue dwindling, Dave and Jim resign themselves to spending another night on the mountain.
As it gets darker, I can hear the snowflakes hitting the tent. They're huge. We're in no man's land.
Maybe before midnight, we started hearing activity of avalanches in the area.
Dave! Wake up! Wake up, Dave!
I'm screaming at Dave as loud as I can.
Wake up!
All of a sudden, it sounds like jets are coming. It's like sitting right under a 747, just this roaring noise.
The winds pushed ahead of an avalanche can reach hurricane force. Jim and Dave are in the crossfire.
It's louder than a Pink Floyd concert. It's louder than any noise I've ever heard, and it's right above us.
We just started praying.
I don't know who else to turn to. It's in the tent. It's around you. It's inside my sleeping bag.
We really thought this was it. We thought this was the end.
But we're saying these prayers just constantly, 3 every minute for hours.
Numerous times we were hit by 100-mile-an-hour wind blasts and just pelted with snow, but the big one didn't come.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Piper 173 Alpha.
Mark's attempts to get a call out are hampered by the surrounding mountains that block the radio signal. Only a plane flying directly overhead will hear his call.
We've crashed on Ruth Glacier. Do you read me? Over.
I'm still amazed to this day that we're still around after that night.
Dave?
Jim has no intention of spending another night on the mountain.
Okay, Dave. I'm ready to go. Let's go. We can't just stay here. We're sitting ducks. You gotta haul me out. We can make it down to the glacier. Someone will see us there, man. No one will see us here.
Jim, would you look? It's too steep.
I didn't think I could do it.
Even if we cut across, we could start an avalanche.
I'm pissed because we're going nowhere.
What are you doing, Dave?
I'm looking for a safe spot.
Come off it. There is no safe spot in this whole valley. We just gotta get out of here.
We're moving over there.
That won't make any difference.
He puts me in the bivy sack to haul me over there. I don't like anything to do with this.
I set up the tent in this new location, and I feel pretty good about it. I said, Jim, your worries are over, buddy. We're good here until rescue comes.
You're dreaming. You know, you just cut the bull. Quit acting all mellow. There's nothing mellow about this.
You are always trying to swim upstream.
What are you talking about?
He's not fighting it. He's just kind of, letting it take him for a ride.
No, I wish I could stand up and walk off this thing. We would be down in an hour if I could stand up, We gotta fight.
What the heck are you talking about?
Man against nature, what a bunch of crock of BS.
I want to go down, Dave.
Do you want to live? Do you want to live? Then do what I tell you to for once.
At the ski hut, they're no closer to alerting a rescue party. The food supply is running low, and the strain is beginning to show.
There is nothing. Nobody there.
I don't know how much longer I can do this, Mark.
I'm sure somebody's made contact that we're missing, but they don't know if we're dead or alive.
This is the 6th night on the mountain, and it's still snowing heavily. Jim and Dave are now holed up in what Dave believes to be a sheltered spot.
And we might get a little bit of a blast. Nothing like the night before. Just feeling good. Yeah, I was right with my assessment. I put us in a safe place. Well, early in the morning, maybe 2 a.m., we heard a roar.
Oh, what the hell is that, Dave? Wake up!
There's a sickening, cracking rumble, explosions, boom.
Fly downhill 200 feet, 300 feet.
Jim, are you okay?
We're completely buried, 100% encased in snow. And my hips just screaming.
I can feel the pocket.
And he pulled me out of the snow. He lays me out on the ground in the sleeping bag, and I'm just laying there. The avalanches are roaring everywhere. It's just as bad, you know, bad. It's war. We're just laying out there with nothing. We can't find anything.
There's nothing left, Dave!
I was just scrambling like a madman. The shovel, it's the key survival tool you have in the mountains.
Come on, me! Before another one comes! That's it! Come on, keep digging! Keep digging! Keep digging!
I'm just thinking the next avalanche is coming and the next one's taking us down the hill. You really could care less about the other person. Sure, you love the guy, but hey, at a certain level, you think about yourself first.
I will clamp myself, I'll chain myself to a leg, I'll bite it off, I'll crawl down here and kick his ass if he leaves me.
There's dark thoughts, darkness that creeps in a survival situation. I don't have to be here. I'm mobile. Why the hell don't I just get out of here?
Eight miles up the glacier, Mark Niver is clinging to one hope. This morning, the jet that takes him to work on the Alaskan oil fields will be flying directly overhead. It's their best, maybe their only chance to let people know where they are.
My dad flies that plane. I know the whole crew. I know that they'll be tuned in.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Piper 173 Alpha. Over.
Hello, Mark. Is that you? Over.
How are you doing? Who is this? Over.
Mark, we don't read you. Please reply. Over.
Hello, do you read me? Over.
The pilot can't hear Mark.
Repeat, where are you? Over.
Mayday. We are
But he
near
can
the
hear the
mountain.
clicks on his radio.
So it's 1 click yes, 2 clicks no.
After 7 days, the word is out.
Understood.
But rescue is impossible until the weather breaks. And no one knows if Jim and Dave are dead or alive.
I was so whooped by the avalanches from the night before. It was like someone pointing a gun at your head, clicking the trigger, shooting it, and just missing your head. And it was like that for hours.
When you looked at him, you just looked at this sagging face, uninspired, totally whooped man.
Hey, Dave. Stop snowing, right?
It's time for me to take over and tell Dave what to start doing. This is a tricky situation for me. I'm pissed, but I can't give him a bad time. I want to go down. I have to work with Dave.
What do you want to do? You want to go back to the base camp? Get some more food? More equipment?
I wanted to go, but I knew if I left, I would not come back. I had a chance to look myself in the eye and say, what's really important to you? And is your life worth more than this person's?
What's happened to you, Dave? I'll tell you what. You get me off this mountain, I will buy you the biggest, juiciest steak you've ever seen in your life at the Double Muskie. What do you say?
I want a 36-ounce filet mignon.
There's no such thing.
That's what I want.
Well, then that's what you're gonna get.
That was a huge, huge turning point for me, having that opportunity to leave and then just really deciding with 100% certainty that we were gonna make it together, that I'm not gonna leave him.
So begins a back-breaking ordeal to drag Jim down the mountain.
Start to shovel the trail, pack it down, then it'd go back and pull Jim.
Doing it. See, I told you could do it. I love you, Dave.
This is the most focused I've ever seen Dave in his life. He's really getting it together.
Inch by inch, foot by foot, we're moving down the valley.
After 17 hours, they've gone less than half a mile closer to the glacier.
Dave? Dave? You're doing it, man. You're doing it.
All of a sudden, we're flying downhill. I'm screaming bloody murder.
And I pick up speed, and this is it. I'm falling. Free fall. Backwards. This is it.
Jim's luck has held. He's been caught on a ledge 30 feet below the surface.
Is that it? Is that all you got?
I start screaming at God, you know. I'm telling him, I can take more. I can take more.
Come on! I can take more!
Dave has been swept far deeper into the 500-foot crevasse.
I just barely avoided going down to the bottom. You could kind of see 300-400 feet down it.
Come on! I can take more!
Jim. 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 Oh, Jim.
There's a ramp.
And he says, Jim. He goes, there's a way out.
We can make that, Jim. We can make that.
Ramp must have been about 70 degrees. It was just ridiculous.
Okay, Jim. On the count of 3.
1, 2. And again. 1, 2. That's the stuff. That's the stuff. Good, Jim. You're helping me.
I'm looking right up at Dave. He's looking right down at me. This is gonna be a lot of work.
Hold yourself there. I'm holding me. I'm holding. Come on. 1, 2, 3.
It's total team effort. It's total us working together.
I had to try to get him up this ramp.
Roger, you gotta help me.
I didn't have an ice axe, didn't have a shovel. Now my precious shovel is gone.
Get on you, man. Hold it.
We're probably moving a foot at a time. Sometimes we're probably only making 4 inches on a pull.
Roger, you're nearly there.
We're laughing. We're out of the crevasse. We're laughing.
Dave, there's the glacier. Let's just go for it. Let's toboggan down right now. No way. It's too steep. It's full of crevasses.
I'm feeling invincible. I can slide over crevasses. Nothing's gonna kill me. I'm sliding out of control down the gorge. I feel like I'm sledding as a kid.
As soon as I got over 1 mile an hour, it just took off like a rocket.
It doesn't look like we're gonna be able to get in today at all. Visibility is too bad. Over.
So I go back up to the mountain hut, and everybody's got this hopeful look on their face.
Looks like they're not going to be able to come in today.
That's great.
When I think back, it's amazing I remained as calm as possible until I started crying. I just started losing it.
I swore I could hear voices, and I don't know if I'm going crazy. I could hear birds chirping, seemingly miles away. I could hear the tinkle of the snowflakes as it hit the snow. My senses became very acute.
Jim and Dave have finally made it to the glacier where they can be seen. It may be too late.
I am starving. I haven't eaten but a few tablespoons in the week and maybe had a couple sips of water. If we don't get picked up now, I'm gonna die soon.
Now you're an airplane. see a little red dot coming up the glacier.
A brief and almost miraculous break in the clouds has made rescue possible.
That was a great moment. It was really hard. Hard for me to, of course, I broke down and cried at that point. And
You did it, Dave. You did it.
It's the best sound I've ever heard in my life.
God, it's like we're at the pearly gates. I mean, he's right there. He's circling over us. He keeps tilting his wings at us.
Get your act together.
he's saying, "Don't cry, stand up, you're a hero." And so he's telling me all this stuff of how to act, you know, you saved my life, you're a hero.
You don't want to be blubbering when the helicopter comes.
Shut up, Jim.
Alerted by Mark's radio, planes have been flying above the clouds searching until the weather suddenly cleared. Those few minutes of sunlight have saved them all.
And when I got off the helicopter at the hospital, we could see our friends all lined up on the fence. It was great. Of course, my mom was happy to see I was the one that was walking.
I smoke dope the whole time I'm in the hospital. My buddies show up with a bunch of beer. It's like a party every day in my room.
Eight weeks later, Roberta gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Though Jim never fully recovered from his hip injury, it didn't stop him climbing. Dave is now a father and doesn't climb as much as he'd like to. For his efforts to save Jim, Dave was awarded the Carnegie Medal for bravery.